There is a secret many people miss, not because it is hidden, but because it is simple. You have been told to think positively, to visualize, to write affirmations, but few ever told you this. None of it works unless you feel it. I am here to teach you how to feel it. Because once you learn, the world will yield to your touch. You must learn to feel from the end, not of it. There is a difference. Feeling of the end keeps it at a distance. You say, one day I'll have it, but feeling from the end means it is already mine. Close your eyes now, not to escape the world, but to command it. Imagine your desire fulfilled. See the scene clearly. But now go deeper. How does it feel? What's in your heart? Is it calm? Is it joy? Is it gratitude? If not, you are only playing with shadows. But if your chest expands, your spine straightens and tears nearly come, not from sadness, but from realization, then you are there. You are in the state. That state is the only thing you must seek. For when you dwell in the state, the facts of your life will bend to match it. Your senses may argue, your bank account may mock you, your surroundings may look unchanged. But ignore them. The outer world is always late to the party your inner world began. You must persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel it before you see it. Feel it until you cannot unfeel it. And then, quietly, the world will echo back what you accepted as true. It may seem mysterious, but it is law. The universe responds to your inner conviction, not your outward complaint. So feel rich, feel loved, feel successful, feel chosen. How to feel it? Not with effort, but with surrender. Not with force, but with faith. Do not try to manipulate the how or the when. That is not your concern. Your only task is this: assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and dwell there. If you can feel it, you can live it. And if you persist in that feeling long enough, the world has no choice. It must mirror you back. Your world does not change simply because you wish it to. It does not transform through idle thoughts or half-hearted daydreams. The power lies not in the thought itself, but in the feeling that breathes life into the thought. Feeling is the secret bridge between what is invisible and what becomes visible. It is the sacred passageway between the unseen and the seen, the internal and the external, the desire and the manifestation. You can sit in silence for hours, repeating affirmations. You can visualize a beautiful life in your mind's eye. But if there is no emotional charge, if your heart does not stir, if your spirit does not rise in response, then all you've done is entertain an idea. The idea remains hollow, untouched by the power that could have made it real. It is the feeling that gives it weight, gravity, and substance. To think, I am wealthy, without feeling wealthy is to walk in circles. You may say the words, but if your inner self contradicts them, if your stomach tightens in fear when you open your bank account, or your breath shortens at the sight of a bill, then you are not truly creating. You are affirming lack, even as you speak abundance. Your emotional state is your creative state. It is your inner world that sets the tone and pattern for the outer world to follow. The universe is not listening to your words. It is responding to your vibration. And that vibration is shaped entirely by how you feel. This is why the truth cannot be found through logic alone. The mind may argue, it may present all the reasons why something cannot happen. But when a feeling arises that says, it is already done, the mind falls silent. Feeling bypasses logic. It does not beg for approval or permission. It declares. It knows. Think about something you truly love. A person, a moment, a place that brought you peace. You do not think your way into that memory, you feel it. And when you feel it, it becomes real again, even if just for a moment. The body reacts, the heart softens, the eyes may well with tears. Why? Because feeling makes the invisible tangible. Likewise, to create your future, you must enter into the emotional experience of it now. Not later, not after the condition changes, but now. If you would be loved, feel the warmth of love now. Walk as though you are cherished. Move as though you are seen. Speak as though someone is listening to your soul. If you desire freedom, then let freedom become your present atmosphere, not tomorrow. Now, feel the release, the space, the lightness of having already arrived. It is this feeling that instructs your subconscious mind. And your subconscious is the womb of reality. It does not argue or judge. It only accepts the feeling as fact and moves mountains to match the inner with the outer. You must feel it in the marrow of your being, not just in the surface of the mind. Let it drop down into your chest, into your belly, into your bones. Let it become more real to you than what your eyes see or your ears hear. That is the secret of true creation. That is how the bridge is crossed. Your thoughts may come and go, flickering like shadows, but your feelings? They carve paths in your being. They shape your posture, your tone, your energy. They tell the world who you believe you are, and the world listens. When you truly feel the reality of your desire fulfilled, the world begins to shift, quietly, invisibly, but inevitably. The bridge is crossed. The unseen becomes seen. Not by chance, but by law. And all because you dared to feel it first. To assume the state of the wish fulfilled is to enter the realm where your desire is no longer a question but a fact. It is not something you are trying to achieve, it is something you already possess in the unseen world. You walk, speak, and feel from that reality, not toward it. This is the great secret. You are not to wait for the evidence to believe. You are to believe so fully, so completely, that the evidence has no choice but to appear. Living in the end is not a passive state of imagination. It is active. It is vivid. It is emotionally charged. It means that you stop thinking of your desire and begin thinking from it. There is a profound difference. Thinking of your desire still leaves it separate from you. It keeps it in the future, in a state of longing, of hope. But thinking from your desire is an act of inner acceptance. It means the desire has already been received in your imagination, and therefore it exists now in truth. Your imagination is not fiction. It is the first stage of creation. Everything you now see around you began as a thought, accepted as real by someone. A home, a painting, a piece of music, a business, a relationship, they all had to be imagined and believed in before they were seen. And so it is with your life. To change it, you do not wrestle with outer conditions. You withdraw your attention from what is and place it firmly upon what will be, as if it already is. You do not ask, when will it happen? That question only reveals doubt. You do not beg, you do not chase. You enter the scene mentally where your desire has already come true and you dwell there. You feel what you would feel if it were already done. You see yourself from the new perspective, and you repeat this inner experience until it hardens into fact. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined with feeling. It simply accepts what you feel to be true and brings it forth in your reality. This is why the inner assumption is so powerful. Once you assume a thing to be true, life rearranges itself to support that assumption. If you desire love, do not wait to be loved. Assume the state of being deeply loved now. Carry yourself with the ease, confidence, and softness of one who is adored. If you desire abundance, do not wait for the money to appear. Assume the state of one who always has enough, who feels secure, who is generous and grateful. That state is the seed. The feeling is the key. And once planted, it must grow. Do not be fooled by appearances. What you see with your eyes today is nothing but the echo of a previous state. If you wish to see a new world, you must first change the state within you. The external always mirrors the internal. You cannot live in lack inwardly and expect prosperity outwardly. You cannot feel lonely and call it love. The outer world is simply the shadow of your inner world. So the command is simple, though not always easy. Assume the state. If you were already the person you long to be, how would you walk? How would you talk? How would you rise in the morning and lie down at night? Begin there. Not tomorrow. Now. This is the doorway. Faith is not blind when it rests in imagination. It is a knowing. And once you know within yourself that a thing is true, it becomes your new center of being. Life must answer. You do not wait to be chosen. You already are. You do not ask for the promise. You already hold it. The state of the wish fulfilled is not a future hope. It is a present reality in the unseen. And once it is assumed, it must come forth. Because what you feel to be true with inner conviction becomes truth in your world. Imagination is not a mere fantasy. It is not a tool reserved for children or dreamers. It is in truth the first reality. Everything you now see around you, every object, every structure, every relationship, every circumstance, first existed in someone's imagination. It was conceived, felt, and believed before it ever found expression in the visible world. There is no other way creation happens. The outer world is simply the reflection of the inner world. What you dare to imagine, combined with feeling, becomes the foundation upon which your life is built. You may believe that reality is fixed, that the world happens to you, but this is not the truth. The world you encounter is shaped by the images you hold within. The true source of life's events is not in the physical, but in the unseen. Your imagination. It is the workshop of your soul. There, in silence, without needing anything from the outside, you can begin the process of transformation. But imagination alone is not enough. You cannot merely think of a better life or visualize a new outcome in vague, detached pictures. For imagination to create, it must be alive with feeling. Emotion is what breathes life into the image. Feeling gives it form, texture, weight, and presence. Without feeling, imagination remains a shadow. With feeling, it becomes reality. Suppose you imagine yourself successful. You close your eyes and see yourself in a position of honor, abundance, and fulfillment. That is a good beginning, but if you do not feel it, if you do not allow the joy, pride, gratitude, or peace of that state to fill your body, then the image is only a sketch. It lacks the essence that makes it real to your subconscious. It will not plant deeply enough to take root. Your subconscious mind does not respond to words or vague ideas. It responds to the emotional charge behind the image. This is why it is not the one who imagines the most that creates the most. It is the one who imagines with feeling. When the inner experience becomes more vivid than the outer world, then change begins. Creation does not start in the future, it begins now within. The world does not first move and then you react. No, you move within and then the world follows. You carry the power of creation within you, always. There is no condition outside of you that is more powerful than your imagination filled with feeling. Do not wait for signs. The sign is within you. If you can imagine a new life and feel it to be real, then you are already on the path to it. The outer world may not shift immediately, but do not be deceived by appearances. The seed has been planted, and all things brought into being must begin with the invisible. That is the law. Think of yourself as an artist of your reality. The mind provides the brush, the imagination the color, and the feeling. The feeling is the substance. It is the invisible clay that molds the future. If you desire love, feel loved. If you desire wealth, feel secure and abundant. Not later, but now. The feeling now is what creates the reality later. There is no limit to what you can imagine, and thus no limit to what you can create. But you must dare to enter the scene of your fulfilled desire and dwell there with emotion. Stay in the feeling. Revisit it until it feels familiar, until it feels natural. Then you will know that creation has begun. What you feel deeply in imagination will crystallize in your world. Imagination is not a preview. It is the act itself. Feel it fully, and the universe will conform. All things begin with an image, and the moment you believe in that image with feeling, the unseen becomes the seen. The principle that one cannot desire what one does not already possess finds its basis in the structure of human consciousness and the process of psychological projection. Empirical studies in cognitive science and behavioral psychology support the idea that desire is not arbitrary, but emerges from an internal recognition, conscious or unconscious, of a latent state. In this context, desire functions not as a signal of absence, but as evidence of a reality already contained within the individual's identity or mental framework. To understand this, consider how the brain identifies goals. Cognitive neuroscience has demonstrated that the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making and planning, activates when individuals imagine or simulate future experiences. However, this simulation is based on existing neural patterns. The brain cannot fabricate something entirely unknown. Rather, it recombines known inputs into new configuration. Therefore, when a person desires something, be it success, love, health, or security, the desire reflects a configuration of internal data already present in some form. This is supported by the psychological construct of self-concept. Self-concept theory posits that individuals are drawn towards states that align with their perceived identity. In other words, a person who desires to be a leader likely has some internal model of leadership within their conceptual framework, either through personal traits, exposure, or internalized values. The desire is a reflection of an internalized potential, not an external vacancy. Data from developmental psychology show that early exposure and environment shape what individuals come to desire. A child raised around music may develop a strong desire to play an instrument. The desire, while seemingly external, is cultivated through repeated exposure and neural encoding. This pattern suggests that desire is evidence of internal possession, shaped, stored, and ready to be activated. In terms of phenomenological experience, the urge or longing for a particular outcome often emerges from a mental rehearsal of having already achieved or experienced that state. Mental imagery research confirms that visualizing a desired state engages the same neurological circuits as the actual experience. This overlap suggests that the brain does not differentiate sharply between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Therefore, the desire is a byproduct of an inner experience that has already occurred at the sensory level. The principle is also evident in behavior economics, particularly in the concept of revealed preference. People's choices often reflect deeper desires they already possess internally. When an individual chooses to pursue a specific career, partner, or lifestyle, It is not merely in pursuit of something unknown. It is a manifestation of values, preferences, and psychological conditions already present. Thus, the act of desiring is an expression of existing internal content. From a logical standpoint, one cannot formulate a specific desire for something without having a conceptual or emotional reference point for it. For instance, an individual does not desire an abstract object with no known attributes. They desire a specific condition, peace, recognition, safety, because they already hold an internal definition and emotional resonance with that state. This aligns with the philosophical concept that desire is the memory of the future, an internal certainty projected forward in time. The emergence of desire is not indicative of a lack but of a latent ownership. It acts as confirmation of an internal resource, talent, or condition that is seeking external expression. Recognizing desire as evidence of possession reframes the way individuals relate to their goals, not as remote targets, but as extensions of what they already are. This model encourages alignment between inner belief and external action, underlining the foundational psychological truth that people do not move toward what they lack, but rather what they are already equipped to manifest. Emotion is not a fleeting reaction or a random storm of feelings. It is the language of the subconscious mind, the silent force that activates the inner world and commands the outer. While thought initiates direction, it is emotion that carries power. You may think endlessly about change, about wealth, about love, about healing, but unless you feel these truths within you, nothing truly moves. The subconscious, which governs nearly every aspect of your outer experience, responds only to emotion, not logic, not repetition alone, but the vibrational energy of what you deeply feel to be true. It is feeling that impresses upon the subconscious. Thought without feeling is sterile. You can repeat 1,000 affirmations, but if you say them mechanically without conviction or emotion, they pass like wind through the trees. The subconscious does not record words, it records states. And emotion is the stamp of your inner state. When you feel something deeply, you are telling your subconscious this is real, and the subconscious, unable to distinguish between what is outer fact and inner conviction, accepts it as true and moves all things to reflect it. This is why people who dwell in states of fear, anxiety, or lack continue to attract circumstances that match those emotions. It is not punishment, it is law. The emotional state you dwell in becomes the pattern the world must conform to. If you consistently feel unworthy, the world reflects it. If you feel poor, the world affirms it. But the opposite is also true. When you feel abundant, even without physical proof, the world must begin to reflect abundance. When you feel loved, even in solitude, love begins to make its way to you. There is no delay in the language of emotion. What you feel now is creating your tomorrow. Emotion is not a reaction to what happens. It is the cause of what happens. The world is your mirror, and the image it reflects is shaped by the emotional vibration you offer. If you want to change the image, you must change the feeling. It is not enough to wait for conditions to change so you can feel better. That is backward. You must feel better so the conditions can change. This is the secret that many overlook. They try to think their way into a new life. They read, they plan, they speak, but their hearts remain in the same emotional state. They are still worried, still doubtful, still afraid. And the subconscious, obedient and precise, continues to manifest a world that matches the dominant emotional climate. It is not thought alone that moves mountains. It is thought married to feeling. When you think abundance and feel it, when you think love and feel it. When you think healing and feel it, then the creative process is set into motion. The subconscious is always listening, but it hears only feeling, and not brief surface level feeling, but the deep habitual emotion that you return to day after day. What you feel persistently is what you become. That is why guarding your emotional state is the highest form of self-mastery. You must treat your feelings like sacred instruments. Tune them to what you want, not to what you fear. If you want peace, feel peace. If you want joy, feel joy now, not later, now. The present feeling is the seed of future experience. And you can train this. Emotion is not beyond your control. You can, through imagination, assume the feeling of your desired state and dwell in it. Close your eyes and feel what it would be like if your dream were real. Not just see it, feel it. How would you walk? What would your inner atmosphere be? Dwell there. Let that emotion rise and spread. In that moment you are creating, you are activating the inner world, and the outer world has no choice but to respond. Motion is the key, the activator, the engine of transformation. To change your world, change your inner vibration. Do not wait, begin now. Feel differently, and the world will follow. You do not become what you want. You become what you accept as true. This is the secret that governs the seen and the unseen. It is not the loudness of your desire that determines its manifestation, but the quiet conviction that what you seek is already yours. The world around you is plastic to your inner assumptions. It bends, shifts, and aligns itself to what you believe, not superficially, but deeply, emotionally, and persistently. Assumption is not daydreaming. It is not idle wishing. Assumption is a conscious choice to occupy a state of being before you have physical evidence. It is saying, I am, and refusing to contradict it with, I hope, or maybe someday. The moment you accept something as true without needing proof, without needing permission, you begin to embody it. And once you embody it, your world must follow. The law is clear. The inner shapes the outer. The unseen precedes the seen. And your assumption is the blueprint the universe follows. Now, most people live their lives assuming things they do not want. They assume they are unlucky, that things never work out for them, that abundance is reserved for others. And they are not wrong. They are simply unconscious creators. The world does not reward desire, it rewards belief. If someone believes deeply that life is difficult, the world will echo it. If another believes life is effortless and kind, that too becomes their experience. What you consistently accept as true becomes law in your reality. Your assumptions speak to the subconscious mind, which does not question or reason. It receives your inner state as instruction and moves in the direction you have set. If you assume you are loved, you begin to act, speak, and carry yourself differently. Your energy changes and people respond to it. If you assume wealth, you begin to make decisions that match that frequency. Opportunities arise not because they were not there before, but because now you are aligned to see and receive them. The beauty of this principle is that you do not need to wait. You do not need the world to show you evidence before you believe. You need only believe, and the world must conform. The power lies within you right now. Your circumstances do not matter. They are echoes of old assumptions. You can change everything by changing what you accept as true. But this requires persistence. It is not a one-time declaration. It is the daily embodiment. You must live in the state of your assumption as if it were already fact. Walk as the person you wish to be. Speak from the end, not the middle. Do not explain your way out of your desire. Do not entertain doubt under the guise of being realistic. Reality as you know it is only the outpicturing of your inner states. Change the inner, and the outer must follow. You must feel the truth of your assumption so vividly that it becomes more real to you than the facts in front of you. Facts change, assumptions remain, until replaced. A man in rags who assumes himself to be wealthy will not remain in rags for long. A woman who assumes herself to be radiant and loved will not remain invisible. Your assumption is your seed. Nourish it with feeling, persistence, and inner attention, and it will bloom into form. Nothing stands between you and the life you desire except your belief that it is not yet yours. Once you drop that belief, once you claim the end with full heart and mind, everything begins to shift. Life reorganizes itself to fit the new truth you have accepted. It is not magic, it is law. You become what you accept as true. Choose wisely, assume boldly, live faithfully in your new state, and the world will mirror it without fail. This profound truth: your inner world is the architect of your outer reality. The assumptions you hold, the feelings you nurture, and the beliefs you accept shape every experience you encounter. You are not merely a passive observer of life, but an active creator, empowered to mold your world from within. When you truly embody your desires as if they are already fulfilled, when your feelings resonate deeply with your vision, the universe has no choice but to respond. This is the power you carry. The power to transform, to manifest, and to live as the highest expression of your being. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you today. May you walk forward with the certainty that what you assume and feel as true is already yours. Embrace that truth and watch your life unfold in miraculous ways. I manifested 18 million by putting this number in my wallet. There is a hidden power within you, an unseen force that shapes your world in the quiet chambers of your mind. It is your imagination, the sacred womb where all creation begins. I want to share with you how I manifested 18 million simply by placing a number in my wallet, and how this simple act transformed my entire reality. The first step is to understand that the number itself is not magic. It is a symbol, a tangible representation of a state of consciousness. When I wrote 18 million on a small piece of paper and placed it inside my wallet, I was not just carrying numbers, I was carrying my belief, my feeling of already having it. You see, it is not about the external act alone. The secret lies in feeling that this number is already mine. I closed my eyes and imagined the life of abundance, freedom, and joy that comes with having 18 million. I felt the weight of that reality, the excitement, the peace, the gratitude. I embraced the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This feeling carried me through days and nights when doubt tried to sneak in. I returned to that feeling again and again, allowing it to grow stronger, deeper, until it became my unshakable faith. Faith is the quiet certainty that no matter what the outer world shows, your inner world is true and inevitable. By carrying the number in my wallet, I anchored this faith. Each time I reached for my wallet, I was reminded of my inner vision. It kept me aligned with the reality I desired, a constant beacon in a world that often tries to tell you otherwise. And then the miracle happened. The outer world conformed to the inner vision. Opportunities arose, doors opened, and one by one the pieces fell into place. The 18 million was no longer a number in my wallet. It was a living reality. The power to manifest lies within you. It is not about forcing or struggling, but about relaxing into the state of having already received. Let your imagination be vivid, your feelings sincere, and your faith unbreakable. Carry your vision close, whether it is a number, a word, or a symbol that resonates with your desire. Let it be your anchor and your reminder that what you imagine and feel deeply is yours already. You do not manifest by chasing after what you want. You manifest by becoming the person who already has it. By embodying that state in every fiber of your being. So, I encourage you today, find your number, your symbol, your representation of your desire, place it close to you. Feel it as yours now. Live in the end and watch as your world shifts, rearranges, and gives you what your heart has already claimed. Because what you hold in your imagination and feel with conviction is your reality in waiting. Your imagination is not just a fleeting mental activity or a way to escape reality. It is the very source, the fertile soil from which all realities are born. Every circumstance, every event, every condition that you see around you began first as an idea, a picture, or a feeling in someone's mind. Your imagination is the unseen architect of your life. When you learn to use it consciously, you begin to understand that you are not a passive observer of your existence, but an active creator. Imagine for a moment the power that lies in the images you hold within. These images are not mere fantasies or wishful thinking. They are the blueprints of your future. When you hold a clear, vivid picture of what you desire, your mind begins to work behind the scenes, organizing, adjusting, and drawing opportunities to manifest that vision. Your imagination is like a seed planted deep in the ground. At first it seems invisible, powerless, but with attention and care, it grows and breaks through the surface to become your lived experience. The key is not just to imagine casually, but to embrace your vision with emotion and belief. Thought alone is a spark, but feeling is the fuel that ignites the fire of manifestation. When you vividly imagine your desired reality and emotionally accept it as true, you impress it deeply upon your subconscious mind. This is where the transformation takes place. The subconscious does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined with feeling. It accepts the images and emotions you give it as facts and moves to bring them into physical form. This process is continuous and automatic. The images you repeatedly entertain with emotion shape your expectations, influence your decisions, and guide your actions, even in ways you are not consciously aware of. If your imagination dwells on lack, limitation, or failure, your reality will reflect those themes. But if you nourish your mind with vivid, positive images of success, abundance, and joy, your life will inevitably begin to reflect those qualities. To truly harness this power, you must become deliberate about what you imagine. Your imagination must be disciplined and focused. It is not about daydreaming or fleeting fantasies, but about consistently choosing the inner picture you want to live out. This means cultivating a clear mental scene of your desire fulfilled. It means feeling the reality of that desire as if it were already true, living in the end result rather than the present lack. When you do this, your imagination becomes a magnetic force, drawing to you people, circumstances, and opportunities that correspond to the state you are embodying. It rearranges your external world to match your inner reality. You begin to notice synchronicities, intuitive insights, and effortless progress that seem to confirm your new inner state. Many people misunderstand the role of imagination because they treat it as a passive escape or an idle pastime. But imagination is the divine tool you have been given to create your destiny. It is not limited by current conditions or logical constraints. It transcends time and space because it operates on the level of spirit and consciousness. What you imagine with feeling today, you will experience tomorrow. Therefore, protect your imagination as you would a precious treasure. Guard it against doubt, fear, and negativity. Instead, feed it with faith, hope, and gratitude. Make a daily practice of revisiting your vision with enthusiasm and certainty. Let your imagination be a sanctuary where your dreams live and breathe until they take form. The world you see around you is but a reflection of the world you carry within. Your imagination is the seed, and your feeling is the water and sunlight that nurture it. Together they bring forth the harvest of your desires. So choose your images wisely. Imagine not what is, but what could be. Imagine yourself already living the life you want, feeling the emotions you would feel if your dreams were fulfilled. This is the creative act that shapes your future and transforms your present. In this way, your imagination is truly the seed of reality, the first step in the miraculous journey from thought to form, from desire to manifestation. When you understand and live this truth, you hold the power to create anything you wish. Thinking about your desire is the starting point, but it is only the beginning of the process of creation. The true secret to bringing your dreams into reality lies not in mere thoughts, but in the feeling, the deep living emotion of already having what you want. Feeling is the language of the subconscious mind, the power that transforms abstract ideas into concrete realities. Without feeling, thoughts remain lifeless and powerless. With feeling, they become the very force that shapes your world. When you think about your desire, your mind may understand what you want, but the subconscious requires something more, a feeling that convinces it the desire is already fulfilled. The subconscious does not reason or analyze. It simply accepts what you impress upon it through feeling as truth. Therefore, the moment you feel the reality of your desire, as if it is already yours, you plant a seed deep within your being that begins to grow and manifest. Feeling is like the invisible thread that connects your inner world with the outer world. It creates a magnetic pull that draws circumstances, opportunities, and people into your life in perfect alignment with the state you have embodied. If you only think about your goal without feeling it, your energy is scattered and manifestation is delayed. But when your emotions vibrate with the certainty, joy, and satisfaction of having your desire, you send out a powerful signal to the universe that what you want is no longer a distant hope. It is your present reality. Joy and conviction are two of the most potent feelings you can embody. Joy lifts your vibration and opens the channels for abundance to flow freely. Conviction removes doubt and hesitation, solidifying your belief in the inevitable arrival of your desire. When these feelings permeate your being, they create a state of readiness within you. You become a match to the reality you wish to experience, and manifestation becomes a natural and effortless process. Many people get stuck in wishing and hoping because they fail to grasp the importance of feeling. They imagine what they want intellectually, but they do not allow themselves to experience the emotions that come with having it. This creates a gap between their conscious desire and subconscious acceptance. The subconscious remains loyal to what it feels to be true. And if you cannot genuinely feel that your desire is fulfilled, it will not act to manifest it. To cultivate the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you must practice living in the end. This means mentally and emotionally placing yourself in the state where your wish is already accomplished. Close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies your desire is true. Feel the emotions that come naturally: peace, happiness, gratitude, excitement, and dwell on them until they fill your entire being. Make this feeling so real that it overshadows any present lack or doubt. The power of feeling is further amplified by repetition and persistence. The more you return to this state, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, your subconscious accepts it as your new reality and begins to organize your life accordingly. You will find that your thoughts, actions, and external circumstances start to align perfectly with the feeling you have cultivated. Feeling is also the secret to overcoming obstacles and delays. When challenges arise, it is easy to lose faith and revert to negative emotions. But if you hold steadfast to the feeling of your fulfilled desire, You maintain the vibration of your goal and prevent setbacks from derailing your manifestation. Feeling anchors your belief and keeps your creative power active and focused. In truth, feeling is the bridge between imagination and physical manifestation. It is the dynamic force that breathes life into your mental images and brings them into form. Without feeling, imagination remains a silent dream. With feeling, it becomes a living reality. Therefore, do not underestimate the importance of your emotional state. Treat your feelings as the secret currency of creation. Invest in the emotions of your fulfilled desires. Delight in the sensation of having what you want as if it is already yours, and watch how effortlessly your world reshapes itself in response. When you grasp this secret fully, you realize that your feelings are not random reactions, but deliberate tools for creation. By mastering your feelings, you master your destiny. The reality you seek is already present in your feeling. Your task is simply to nurture it with unwavering joy and conviction until it appears in your life. To live in the end means to place yourself fully and completely in the state where your desire is already fulfilled. It is not about hoping or wishing for the future. It is about embodying the reality of your desire in the present moment. This principle is the cornerstone of creation. When you mentally and emotionally assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you align your entire being with the reality you want to experience. You become a living embodiment of your desire, and in doing so, you draw it naturally into your life. Most people live their lives looking outward, reacting to circumstances and waiting for external proof before they allow themselves to feel happy or successful. They say, "I will be happy when I get that job," or "I will feel wealthy when I see money in my bank account." This is living in the effect rather than the cause. It puts the power outside of yourself and keeps you dependent on the changing conditions of the world. Living in the end, on the other hand, turns this logic upside down. It invites you to start from the cause, the inner feeling of having your desire fulfilled. And from that place, the external reality will follow. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you enter a mental and emotional state that is identical to what you would experience if your desire were already real. You feel the joy, the satisfaction, the gratitude, and the peace that come from having what you want. Your mind no longer dwells on lack, but rests in the certainty of abundance. This is not pretending or wishful thinking. It is a conscious, deliberate act of faith and imagination. It is a state of being where your desire exists as an undeniable fact within your inner world. This mental assumption changes everything. Your subconscious mind, which governs your beliefs and habits, accepts this state as true and begins to act upon it. It influences your behavior, your choices, and even your perception of reality. You begin to notice opportunities, ideas, and people that support your desire. Doors open effortlessly, and your path becomes clear. The external world reflects the inner reality you have embraced. Living in the end requires discipline and persistence. Your outer circumstances may not change immediately, but you must continue to dwell in the feeling of fulfillment. This is like planting a seed and nurturing it patiently until it sprouts and grows. If you allow doubt, impatience, or negative thoughts to creep in, you weaken the state you have created. Instead, return often to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, revisiting the mental scenes that evoke the emotions of success and satisfaction. It is helpful to create vivid mental images that imply your desire is real. Imagine a scene that would naturally occur if your goal had already been accomplished. Engage all your senses. See the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures, and immerse yourself in the experience fully. As you do this, the feeling of the end state becomes more powerful and convincing. You train your mind to accept this reality as natural and inevitable. The power of living in the end is that it changes your identity. Instead of being someone who is striving or lacking, you become someone who already has and is. This shift in identity is profound because your outer world always matches your inner self. When you identify with the fulfilled state, your life will align accordingly. Many struggle because they want their desires but refuse to feel the reality of having them now. They place their happiness and success in the future, but the future is shaped by the present state of consciousness. To manifest what you want, you must live as if it is already here. This is not arrogance or delusion. It is understanding the natural law of creation. In this way, living in the end is a daily practice. It requires commitment to your inner vision and faith in its inevitability. It is an act of love and trust toward yourself and the unseen creative force that moves the universe. When you fully assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and live from that place, your desires no longer remain distant hopes. They become your present reality. Your world shifts and you find yourself naturally stepping into the life you have imagined. The secret is simple. Become what you want to be now and watch as the universe reflects that truth back to you. Faith is not merely a hopeful feeling or a casual wish. It is an unshakable belief that what you desire already exists for you, regardless of what your current circumstances might appear to be. It is a deep, quiet knowing that transcends logic, reason, and visible evidence. Faith stands firm even when the world around you seems to contradict your hopes, when challenges arise, or when there is no apparent sign of your desire manifesting. This steadfast belief is the foundation upon which all creation is built. Many people confuse faith with blind optimism or wishful thinking, but true faith is far more profound and powerful. It is not dependent on fleeting emotions or temporary conditions. It does not waver with setbacks or disappointments. Instead, it is a deep conviction, rooted in the certainty of your inner knowing. Faith is the internal assurance that your desire is already fulfilled in the unseen real, and that what you hold as true within your consciousness will inevitably be reflected in your outer world. When you cultivate this kind of faith, you begin to live from a place of calm confidence rather than anxious hope. Your mind is no longer tossed about by doubt or fear. Instead, you rest in the knowledge that the creative forces of the universe are working in your favor. This unshakable belief acts as a magnetic force, drawing to you all the people, circumstances, and opportunities necessary for your desire to come into form. Faith is not a passive state, but an active and deliberate choice. It requires you to hold your vision steady, especially in moments of uncertainty. When external conditions seem to challenge your dreams, faith becomes the anchor that keeps you grounded in your truth. It is the quiet strength that whispers, "This is already done," even when your senses say otherwise. One of the greatest challenges in developing this faith is learning to detach from the evidence of the senses. Our natural tendency is to believe only what we see, hear, or touch. But the creative power you wield comes from another realm, a realm beyond the physical and temporal. Faith invites you to trust this invisible world more than the visible one. It asks you to see your desire as already real, even if your present circumstances suggest the opposite. Faith also requires patience. Manifestation may not happen on your timeline, and sometimes the process involves unseen adjustments and growth. But when your belief is unshakable, you remain steady and untroubled. You understand that the timing is perfect and that every delay or obstacle is simply part of the divine unfolding of your desire. This quiet knowing does not shout or demand. It rests gently but firmly in your heart. It is accompanied by peace rather than anxiety. When you hold this faith, you no longer wrestle with the how or when. You simply know that what you want is yours, and that realization is enough to sustain you. Faith transforms your inner world, and as your inner world changes, your outer world follows. The vibrations you emit when you believe deeply in your fulfilled desire align you with the reality you seek. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions become consistent with the state of having what you want, creating a powerful coherence that the universe responds to. Living with unshakable faith means no longer being swayed by temporary setbacks or negative reports from the outside world. Instead, you maintain a steady focus on your inner vision. You remind yourself that appearances are fleeting and that truth lies beyond the surface. Your faith becomes a shield, protecting your dreams from the erosion of doubt and fear. Faith is the bridge between your present reality and the reality you desire. It is the unwavering belief that connects your inner state of consciousness to the eventual manifestation of your dreams. When you embrace faith fully, you step into your creative power and become a master of your own destiny. Faith is not earned or achieved through struggle. It is simply chosen. It is a decision to trust in the unseen, to believe in the invisible, and to live as if your desire is already yours. This choice opens the door to miracles and transforms your entire experience of life. With faith as your foundation, nothing can stand in the way of your manifestation. Symbolic acts have a profound power to influence the mind and anchor your beliefs in a tangible way. When you perform a physical act, such as writing a number that represents your desire and carrying it with you, you create a bridge between the abstract world of thought and the concrete world of reality. This simple gesture acts as a physical reminder of your inner conviction and helps reinforce the mental and emotional state you need to manifest your desires. It is a method of making the invisible visible, a way to express your belief outwardly and strengthen it inwardly. Our minds respond strongly to symbols because they carry meaning beyond their immediate appearance. When you take the time to write down your desire in the form of a number or a word, you are translating your intention into a form that your subconscious mind can grasp more easily. This physical representation becomes a focal point, a kind of talisman that carries your mental energy and conviction wherever you go. It acts as a constant trigger, reminding you of your wish fulfilled and helping you maintain the feeling that your desire is already real. Carrying such a symbol in your wallet or on your person serves multiple purposes. First, it keeps your desire close to you, literally within reach. This proximity helps maintain a continuous connection to your inner state, even amidst the distractions and challenges of daily life. Whenever you see or touch the symbol, you are reminded to return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This repetition deepens the impression in your subconscious mind, which does not distinguish between the symbolic and the real. It accepts what is impressed upon it through feeling and repetition as true. Second, the symbolic act helps combat doubt and distraction. In moments when uncertainty creeps in or external circumstances seem discouraging, the presence of your physical symbol can bring you back to your center. It anchors your belief, steadying your emotions and preventing you from slipping into doubt or negativity. By grounding your mental state in something you can touch and see, you create a refuge for your faith to remain strong. This technique also taps into the ancient human practice of ritual and symbolism, which has been used throughout history to focus intention and harness spiritual power. When you create and carry a symbol of your desire, you are participating in a timeless tradition of making intention concrete. This ritualistic element strengthens your commitment and signals to your subconscious mind that your desire is important and worthy of attention. Symbolic acts help align your conscious and subconscious minds. Often the conscious mind may waver or get caught up in logical doubts, but the subconscious mind responds powerfully to symbols and feelings. By associating a physical object with your desire, you bypass the barriers of intellectual resistance and speak directly to the part of your mind that creates your reality. This alignment accelerates manifestation because your entire being moves in harmony with your goal. It is important that the symbol you choose feels personal and meaningful to you. Whether it is a number, a word, a drawing, or even a small object, it must resonate with your intention and evoke the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The more significance you invest in the symbol, the stronger its anchoring effect will be. This is why carrying a written number, such as the specific amount of money you desire, can be so powerful. It condenses your vision into a clear, focused point that your mind can return to effortlessly. In practical terms, the symbolic act is a simple yet effective tool for sustaining your mental state. It does not replace the inner work of imagining and feeling your desire fulfilled, but it complements and supports it. It acts as a daily reminder and a steadying influence, making it easier to maintain faith and focus in the face of distractions or challenges. Symbolic acts are about creating a seamless connection between your inner world and your outer reality. They remind you that your desire is not just a fleeting thought, but a living intention that you carry with you at every moment. By anchoring your belief through physical symbols, you deepen your conviction and empower the creative forces within you to bring your dreams into manifestation. Persistence is the quiet, relentless force that bridges the gap between your inner vision and your outer reality. It is the commitment to keep your desire alive in your mind and heart, no matter what distractions, doubts, or discouragements the world may throw at you. True persistence means holding fast to the image of your wish, fulfilled through the night and day, in moments of clarity and in moments of uncertainty. It is this unwavering dedication that ultimately brings your dream from the realm of imagination into physical form. Often, the greatest challenge in manifestation is not in conceiving the desire, but in sustaining the mental and emotional state long enough for it to materialize. The world is filled with voices, external and internal, that question, criticize, or dismiss your dreams. Circumstances may seem contrary, and results may be slow to appear. Yet persistence calls you to stand firm beyond all evidence and maintain the certainty that your vision is true and will be realized. Persistence requires more than just occasional hope or effort. It demands daily attention and conscious nurturing of your inner state. It means returning to your vision consistently, especially when the outer world tempts you to give up. This is not blind stubbornness, but a steady faith that no matter how long it takes, your inner reality must be honored and protected. The moment you relax this hold, doubt creeps in and begins to unravel the fabric of your manifestation. Living persistently through the night and day means integrating your desire into every aspect of your consciousness. It is a continuous thread woven into your thoughts, feelings, and actions. You do not compartmentalize your vision as something distant or separate. Instead, you carry it with you like a flame that never extinguishes. This flame illuminates your path and shapes your perception of every experience. No matter how mundane or challenging, your mind and subconscious are impressionable and respond deeply to repetition and consistency. The more persistently you impress your vision upon yourself, the more it becomes embedded in your being. Your subconscious mind begins to work behind the scenes, aligning your habits, beliefs, and even your environment to match this new reality. It orchestrates synchronicities, ideas, and opportunities that propel you forward. Without persistence, this inner work remains incomplete, and your manifestation remains distant. At times, persistence may feel difficult. You may experience moments of fatigue, doubt, or discouragement. These moments are natural, but they must not define your journey. Instead, they become invitations to deepen your commitment and renew your focus. When you feel the urge to stray or give up, remind yourself that persistence is not about how quickly you receive your desire, but about staying true to the vision until it manifests fully. It helps to develop daily habits that reinforce your persistence. This could be a morning meditation where you see yourself living your fulfilled desire, an evening reflection that solidifies your faith, or a simple act like carrying a symbolic reminder of your goal. These consistent practices anchor your mind and heart to the reality you are creating, making it easier to resist the pull of doubt or distraction. Persistence is not about forcing or struggling against reality. It is about steady, patient faith combined with inspired action. It requires trust that the unseen creative forces are working on your behalf, even when the results are not yet visible. Your role is to keep the inner image bright and alive, allowing the manifestation to unfold naturally in its perfect timing. Persistence, through night and day, transforms you. It builds resilience, deepens your faith, and strengthens your creative power. It changes your identity from someone who merely wishes to someone who knows. It shifts your consciousness into alignment with your fulfilled desire so completely that nothing can shake your certainty. The world will reflect what you persist in mentally and emotionally. The outer reality is a mirror of your inner state. If you persist in living and feeling as if your desire is already accomplished, the world must adjust to that truth. The doors will open, the circumstances will align, and the people you need will come forward. Your persistence makes this inevitable. Never underestimate the power of persistence. It is the silent engine behind every great manifestation. When you keep your vision alive no matter what, you become unstoppable. You demonstrate that your faith is not a fleeting thought, but a powerful force that commands reality to reshape itself according to your deepest knowing. This is the true secret of creation. To persist through the night and day, holding fast through your vision until it stands revealed in the world outside. In closing, remember that the power to create your reality lies within you. Through imagination, feeling, faith, symbolic acts, and unwavering persistence. When you fully embrace these principles, you align yourself with the invisible forces that bring your desires into form. Trust the process. Live as if your wish is already fulfilled, and hold steadfast to your vision no matter the circumstances. Your outer world will inevitably reflect the reality you cultivate within. Thank you for allowing me to share this message with you today. May it inspire you to take bold steps toward the life you truly desire and deserve. Keep believing, keep imagining, and keep manifesting. Imagine for a moment that you already possess everything you desire. The wealth, the freedom, the abundance, not as a future possibility, but as your current state of being. This is the secret. Millionaire energy is not something to chase. It is something to live now. We often think that money must come first, that our bank accounts must fill before we can truly feel wealthy. But the truth is deeper. Your external world is a mirror reflecting your inner reality. If you want to change what you see, change what you feel inside. When you live as though you are already a millionaire, you shift the very energy around you. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions begin to align with abundance. This alignment is magnetic. It draws to you the opportunities, ideas, and people that will build your fortune. Feel the joy of having financial freedom. Imagine waking up every day free from worry, able to give generously, to travel, to create. Let that feeling saturate your being. Hold on to it with unwavering faith, as though your millionaire self is not some distant dream, but your true identity. Your imagination is your workshop. Use it daily. Create scenes where you enjoy your wealth, where money flows to you easily, where you walk confidently in the presence of success. Live these scenes with all your senses. The more real it feels, the more power you give it to manifest. Do not be distracted by current circumstances. No matter where you are now, your millionaire energy is your seed. Plant it in your mind and water it with belief. This energy will grow silently, unseen, until it bursts forth in your reality. Faith is the bridge between what you see and what you desire. It is the knowing that your millionaire energy is already changing your future, even if the evidence is not yet visible. Hold fast to this knowing and watch how the world responds. Remember, you do not earn millionaire energy. You embody it. You live it. The wealth you seek flows naturally to the state you have already claimed. So start today. Live the millionaire life in your mind, your heart, your actions. Speak the language of abundance. Feel the luxury of freedom now, and let the universe bring you the rest. Because when you live millionaire energy first, before you earn it, you become unstoppable. The life you desire is not shaped by the outside world first, it is shaped from within. Before anything manifests in your external reality, it is born in your inner state. This is a truth that many overlook, yet it is the foundation of all lasting change and true abundance. If you want to attract wealth, financial freedom, and success, you must begin by embodying the feeling of having those things now, not sometime in the distant future. Your inner state is a powerful force. It is the invisible blueprint that shapes the experiences and circumstances that show up in your life. If you walk through the world carrying scarcity, fear, or doubt in your mind and heart, that energy will attract more scarcity, fear, and limitation. Conversely, when you cultivate a sense of abundance, confidence, and worthiness inside yourself, your external world must reflect this vibration. The universe responds to the frequency you emit. Consider this: every external condition was once an idea, a feeling, or a belief held by someone. Before a millionaire had the bank balance, they held the feeling of being wealthy in their imagination and emotions. They lived that energy internally before it appeared externally. This is the law at work. It is not the money that creates the feeling of wealth, but the feeling of wealth that creates the money. To attract wealth, you must first become wealthy in your mind and spirit. This means consciously choosing to inhabit the feeling of having more than enough. It means feeling gratitude, joy, and confidence as if you already possess the financial freedom you desire. This inner state becomes the magnetic force that draws wealth toward you effortlessly. Many people wait for external validation, a raise, a business success, or a windfall, before allowing themselves to feel wealthy. But this delay creates resistance. When you say, "I'll be happy when I have more money," you place your happiness outside of yourself and tether it to something uncertain. Instead, shift your thinking to, "I am wealthy now, and that feeling is what brings more wealth to me." When you live from this state of abundance, you send a clear message to the universe about what you want. Your mind is a garden, and your feelings are the seeds. Plant the seeds of wealth. Nurture them with positive thoughts and feelings, and watch how your life begins to transform. You will notice opportunities appearing, ideas flowing, and people connecting with you who can support your growth. This is the natural response to the energy you hold. This does not mean ignoring your current financial situation or pretending things are perfect if they are not. Instead, it means choosing to focus on the end result and embodying that reality now, despite the present circumstances. The outer world often lags behind the inner world, but the more consistently you maintain this millionaire energy, this feeling of wealth, the faster your external conditions will catch up. Imagine yourself already living in financial freedom. Feel the relief, the pride, and the peace that come with it. Walk through your day with that energy radiating from you. Notice how your decisions change. Notice how your confidence grows. This is the power of your inner state creating your outer reality. Remember, The universe does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined in your mind. It responds to the feeling, the energy, and the belief you hold most powerfully. So if you want to attract wealth, first become wealthy in your thoughts and feelings. This is where the magic begins, in the energy you embody long before the money arrives. Live your life from this truth. Know that your inner state creates your outer reality. Your millionaire energy is already within you, waiting to be awakened and expressed. When you do, the wealth you desire will follow naturally and inevitably. To live from the end means to step into the reality of your desire as though it is already complete. It means not waiting for proof, not depending on circumstances, but acting and feeling as if what you want has already come to pass. This practice is the cornerstone of true manifestation, the secret that bridges the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Most people live from the beginning or the middle. They focus on what they lack, on the challenges in their way, on the absence of what they want. But to live from the end is to shift your consciousness entirely. It is to imagine your goal fulfilled, your desire accomplished, your dream already realized. Instead of saying, I want to be wealthy someday, you say, I am wealthy now. And you feel the weight, the joy, and the freedom of that state in your heart and mind. Imagine for a moment the millionaire version of yourself. See how they carry themselves, the ease in their walk, the calm confidence in their voice, the peace in their spirit. They are not frantic or desperate, but relaxed and assured. This is the energy you must inhabit. When you live from the end, you step fully into that version of yourself. Even if your bank account has not yet caught up, feel the joy that comes with financial freedom. Feel the relief from worry, the excitement of choice, the luxury of time. Let these feelings wash over you now, as if the numbers in your account no longer matter because you have already arrived. This feeling is not a fantasy or a wish. It is a powerful state of consciousness that transforms your very being. When you act from this end state, your thoughts, words, and actions begin to align naturally with what is required to bring your desire into physical reality. You no longer operate from scarcity or lack, but from abundance and certainty. This alignment makes you magnetic to opportunities, ideas, and people that resonate with your millionaire self. It may seem challenging at first, especially if your current reality feels far from your dream. You might feel like you're pretending or deceiving yourself, but this is not deception. It is faith in the unseen. It is the courage to live in the truth of your future before it becomes visible in the present. It is the understanding that your inner world must change first for your outer world to follow. The bank account, the possessions, the status, they are all effects, reflections of your inner state. If you wait for these effects before changing your feelings and identity, you will remain stuck. But if you embody the millionaire now, your life will shift. The money will flow because your inner state has prepared the way. And living from the end also frees you from impatience and frustration. When you feel yourself slipping into doubt, remind yourself to return to the feeling of your fulfilled desire. Anchor yourself in the emotions of joy, freedom, and confidence. These emotions are your true currency. They are the language of the universe, signaling that you are ready to receive. This practice is not about wishful thinking or passive waiting. It is an active, conscious choice to live fully in the reality you wish to create. It is a commitment to yourself that you will no longer be defined by your current circumstances, but by your deepest desires and your unwavering belief in their fulfillment. So choose today to live from the end. Act, think, and feel as though you are already the millionaire you seek to become. Let your life be a reflection of that certainty, that peace, and that joy. When you do this, you are no longer chasing wealth, you are embodying it. And the universe must respond, because living from the end is not just a mindset. It is the state from which creation flows. It is where your power truly lies. Everything in the universe responds to energy. This is a truth that underlies every experience you have. The frequency you emit, the invisible vibrations of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, acts like a powerful magnet, drawing to you circumstances and people that match that energy. When you understand this, you realize that the power to attract wealth and abundance is not found in external hustle alone, but in the internal frequency you maintain. Imagine energy as a wave, constantly pulsing from within you. This wave carries the essence of who you are at that moment. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, or scarcity, then those very vibrations are sent out, calling in experiences that reflect limitation and struggle. But if you raise your frequency, if you vibrate with belief, abundance, and a sense of worthiness, the universe cannot help but respond in kind. Millionaire energy is a specific kind of frequency, a blend of confidence, expectation, and gratitude that resonates at a high level. It is the energy of someone who knows their value and expects the best. This energy is not dependent on current bank statements or material possessions. It is a state of being. When you live in that state, you send out a powerful message to the world. You are ready to receive and you deserve abundance. Many overlook how much their energy shapes their reality. They focus only on external actions or circumstances. But the unseen currents of energy beneath their actions are the true creators of their experience. Money, success, and opportunity are not random. They flow naturally toward those who emit the right frequency. This is why some people seem effortlessly lucky. They are simply vibrating at a level that draws in the experiences they desire. To cultivate this millionaire energy, start by becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings. Notice when you slip into negativity or self-doubt and gently redirect your focus toward belief and positivity. Feed your mind with images and ideas of abundance. Speak affirmations that reinforce your worthiness. Surround yourself with the feeling that wealth is your natural state. These small shifts raise your vibration and alter the magnetic field you project. Energy is not static. It responds dynamically to your attention and intention. The more you hold on to millionaire energy, the stronger your magnetic field becomes. This creates a feedback loop. As you attract better experiences, your energy rises further, bringing even more to you. This is the cycle of abundance, fueled by the frequency you choose to live in every moment. It is important to understand that this magnetic energy does not operate through force or struggle. It flows effortlessly because it is aligned with the natural laws of the universe. When you resist or doubt, you create discord and push away what you desire. But when you vibrate with faith and positivity, you become a beacon, effortlessly pulling your goals toward you. Think of your energy like a radio signal. When you tune into the right station, the station of abundance and confidence, you begin to receive the broadcasts of opportunity and wealth. If you try to force things or tune into fear and lack, your signal becomes weak and unclear. To strengthen your connection, you must keep your inner frequency high and steady. This is why millionaire energy is not just about money. It is about your entire being. It is the alignment of mind, heart, and spirit with a vision of success and plenty. It is the deep inner knowing that you are worthy of the life you dream of. When you live with this magnetic energy, you become unstoppable. The universe always responds to your energy first. Your outer reality is a mirror of your inner frequency. So choose to vibrate with millionaire energy now, and watch how everything around you begins to shift. Believe that abundance is your birthright, and the world will conspire to bring it into your experience. Because energy is magnetic, and the energy you live by determines the life you live. Your imagination is not merely a tool for fleeting daydreams or idle thoughts. It is the very powerhouse of creation within you. It is the sacred workshop where all things begin, the invisible forge where your desires are shaped into realities. The world you experience on the outside is a direct reflection of the inner scenes you play out in your mind. To harness true power and manifest the life of prosperity you seek, you must learn to use your imagination deliberately and vividly. Imagine your mind as a stage and you are the playwright, director, and lead actor all at once. Every scene you create in your imagination is an energetic blueprint, setting the pattern for what will manifest in your external life. If you let your mind wander into thoughts of scarcity, struggle, or limitation, you are unknowingly crafting a reality that mirrors those very conditions. But if you take control of this sacred faculty and craft scenes of wealth, success, and abundance, your imagination becomes the fertile ground from which your dreams sprout. The key is not just to imagine, but to immerse yourself emotionally in the scenes you create. See yourself walking through the doors of a beautiful home. Hear the sound of your own laughter. Feel the texture of success as it brushes against your skin. The more sensory detail you bring, the sights, sounds, smells, and emotions, the more real and alive the vision becomes within you. Your imagination is a living space, and by inhabiting it fully, you send a powerful message to your subconscious mind and the universe at large. This emotional immersion is critical because it awakens the feeling of reality inside you before anything appears on the outside. Feeling is the secret key that unlocks manifestation. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vivid imagined experience and a physical one. When you create a mental scene and saturate it with genuine feeling, joy, gratitude, pride, you program your being to accept that reality as true and inevitable. Think of imagination as the architect's blueprint for a magnificent building. No builder would start construction without a clear plan. Likewise, your reality cannot take shape without a clear mental image. When you use your imagination with focus and intensity, you lay the foundation for your desires to materialize. You become a conscious creator, designing your life from the inside out. Many fail to realize that imagination is a divine gift, a creative force given to you to bridge the gap between desire and fulfillment. It is your most potent weapon against doubt, fear, and limitation. Instead of reacting to external conditions, you become proactive in shaping your future. You hold the reins of your destiny, guiding the unseen forces that bring your desires to life. It is also essential to cultivate patience and faith as you use your imagination. The scenes you create may not appear immediately in physical form, but know that they are silently working beneath the surface. Like a seed planted in fertile soil, your imagined scenes are growing in the unseen realms, destined to bloom in your external reality. Your imagination can craft a new story, one where prosperity is not a distant dream, but your present truth. Use it daily. Make it a sacred practice to create and dwell in scenes of abundance and success. Let the emotional power of your imagined experiences fuel your confidence and motivation. When you do this, you align your entire being with the life you desire. Your imagination is the powerhouse of manifestation. It is where your future takes form before it becomes your present. Treat it with reverence and watch how it transforms your world. To detach from your current circumstances is one of the most profound acts of self-empowerment you can undertake. It means refusing to define yourself by what the outside world is showing you today. The numbers in your bank account, the limitations around you, the people's opinions, the struggles you face. All of these are temporary conditions, reflections of a moment in time, not the measure of your true worth or potential. Most people fall into the trap of judging their value and future based on their present reality. If their situation is difficult, they believe they must remain stuck. If they lack wealth, they assume that wealth is beyond their reach. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality is created. The outer world is a mirror, reflecting back the inner state you hold. Until you change that inner state, no external condition can truly shift. Detachment is not about ignoring your life or being indifferent. It is about stepping back with clarity and understanding that your present circumstances are not the final word on your identity or destiny. They are temporary expressions, but your inner state, the feeling of already having being and living your desire, is eternal and unchanging. When you hold firm in that feeling, you become the unmovable core around which your reality revolves. Consider the power of this inner state. When you are unwavering in the feeling of already possessing your desire, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready and worthy. This signal cannot be ignored. It compels your circumstances to realign, your opportunities to open, and your manifestations to appear. But if you keep measuring your progress by what you see right now, you give power to lack and limitation, strengthening their hold on your life. The true detachment means rising above the fluctuations of your outer world. It means anchoring yourself in the certainty of your fulfilled desire, regardless of what your senses report. You create a silent sanctuary within yourself, a sacred place where your dream already lives. From this place, you do not react to setbacks or challenges. Instead, you persist in your vision with unwavering faith and calm assurance. This inner detachment frees you from frustration, anxiety, and despair. It prevents you from falling into the trap of desperation or doubt when the physical world does not yet reflect your hopes. You realize that external conditions are like clouds passing across the sky. They come and go, but your inner sky remains vast, clear, and infinite. Detaching from your current circumstances also means understanding that change begins within you. The world around you is not the cause of your situation, it is the effect. To change the effect, you must first change the cause, your inner state. This shift is where your true power lies. When you elevate your consciousness, your emotions, and your beliefs to align with your desired reality, the external world must respond accordingly. You cannot force this process by trying harder in the outer world. Instead, your task is to soften, relax, and focus on the feeling of already having what you want. This inner feeling is like a magnetic force, pulling your circumstances into harmony with your vision. Detachment allows this force to flow unhindered by resistance, doubt, or fear. Your present reality is not your prison. It is your starting point. By detaching from what you see and feel now, and by embodying the state of fulfillment within, you break free from limitation. You become the creator of your destiny, moving gracefully and confidently toward the life you desire. So choose today to detach from your current circumstances. Refuse to let temporary conditions define you. Hold fast to the feeling of already having, and watch how your world shifts in response to the unwavering power of your inner state. Faith is often misunderstood as a vague hope or a wishful longing, but true faith is far more profound and powerful. It is the knowing without seeing, the unshakable certainty that what you desire is already forming in the unseen realms, even if your physical senses have not yet confirmed it. Faith is the bridge between your current reality and the future you are creating. It is the invisible thread that connects your inner state of millionaire energy to the outer manifestations that await you. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast river, with the other side holding everything you desire: wealth, freedom, opportunity, and success. The river is wide, and you cannot yet see the path across. Faith is the bridge that allows you to cross this river before the physical evidence appears. It is not built on guesswork or desperation, but on a deep inner conviction that the unseen is already working on your behalf. When you vibrate with millionaire energy, confidence, abundance, worthiness, you have planted a seed in the fertile soil of the unseen world. But for that seed to sprout and grow into the towering tree of your dreams, faith must water it continuously. Without faith, the seed lies dormant, waiting in silence and doubt. But with faith, it bursts forth with life, growing steadily toward manifestation. Faith means trusting the creative process, even when the external world seems slow or indifferent. It means maintaining your vision and feeling of fulfillment despite temporary setbacks or delays. The universe does not move according to the ticking of the clock you see. It moves according to the divine timing of your faith and expectation. When you trust the unseen, you align yourself with this perfect timing, allowing opportunities and earnings to flow to you at just the right moment. This faith is not passive waiting. It is an active, vibrant state of being. It empowers you to act with confidence, to make decisions rooted in the belief that your millionaire energy is already shaping your future. You do not doubt your worthiness or your ability. You know it deep within your core. This knowing is magnetic and irresistible, drawing toward you the people, circumstances, and financial blessings that align with your vision. When challenges arise, faith serves as your anchor. It keeps you steady when the storms of doubt and fear threaten to overwhelm you. Instead of reacting to what you see, you respond from a place of calm assurance. You remind yourself that what is unseen is more real and enduring than the temporary appearances of lack. Your millionaire energy becomes a fortress of faith, protecting your vision from the erosion of negativity. Faith also opens your heart to receive. It softens resistance and invites grace. When you believe in the unseen reality of your success, you become receptive to blessings in forms you might not expect. Doors open, ideas flow, and connections appear that further your journey in ways beyond your planning. This is the mysterious and beautiful law of faith. It expands your possibilities and elevates your experience. It is essential to remember that faith is cultivated by daily practice. Feed it with affirmations, meditation, and vivid imagination. Revisit the feeling of already living your millionaire life. Every time you choose to believe without seeing, you strengthen the bridge and shorten the distance between you and your dreams. Know that faith is not just a bridge. It is the foundation of all manifestation. Your millionaire energy, combined with unwavering faith, creates an unstoppable force. This force transforms your inner world, which in turn reshapes your outer world. So stand confidently on the edge of the river. Feel the solid ground of faith beneath your feet. Trust that the bridge is there, invisible yet strong, ready to carry you to your abundant future. Hold this knowing close and walk forward with the certainty that your millionaire energy is already crafting your earnings and opportunities. In closing, remember that becoming a millionaire begins long before the numbers appear in your bank account. It starts within you, within your energy, your imagination, your faith, and your unwavering belief in the reality you wish to create. When you live from the end, detach from the limits of your present circumstances, and trust deeply in the unseen forces working on your behalf, you embody the millionaire energy that shapes your future earnings and opportunities. This energy is magnetic, drawing to you all that matches its frequency. It is cultivated through vivid imagination and sustained by faith, a knowing that bridges the gap between now and what is yet to come. By mastering your inner world, you become the master of your outer world. The life of abundance, freedom, and success is not a distant dream, but a present reality waiting for you to claim it. Stand firm in this truth. Live it before you earn it. Let your thoughts, feelings, and actions reflect the millionaire you already are. Your future is created now, in this moment, by the energy you choose to embody. Thank you for allowing me to share this vision with you today. May you walk forward with confidence and clarity, embracing the millionaire energy that will transform your life beyond measure. There was a man, not different from you, not more educated, not more privileged, not born into wealth, but he knew something, he remembered something, that all things begin not in the world, but in the mind. And so he wrote. He didn't try to beg, he didn't try to plead with the universe. He wrote as if the thing had already been done. He wrote from the end. He took a piece of paper and with the stillness of conviction he penned, "I am so grateful I won the lottery." The winning numbers were called, and I felt calm. I knew it was mine, and he repeated it, not with effort, but with joy, with stillness, with inner knowing. He wasn't waiting for evidence. He became the evidence. He didn't check the odds, he checked only his inner state. Every day he returned to the page, not because he doubted, but because he delighted in the assumption. He lived inside the feeling or the wish fulfilled. He walked like a wealthy man. He gave thanks like a wealthy man. He wrote as a wealthy man would write, calm, direct, and certain. The world told him he was foolish. But the world only mirrors the voices within. So he ignored the noise and listened to the still voice inside that whispered, "It is done." And then it happened. The numbers were drawn. His hands did not shake. His heart did not race. He had already received it in the unseen. The physical was just a delayed echo of the truth he had accepted long before. This is how it works. You do not write to get, you write because you already have. You do not imagine to attract, you imagine to awaken what is already yours. So I ask you, how would you write if you knew you couldn't fail? How would you speak if the universe had no option but to deliver? How would you live if the money was already on its way? Write like that, think like that, feel like that, and you will see that nothing is withheld from the one who knows who they are. You are not trying to win the lottery. You are awakening to the truth. You are the one who gives the command. Your outer world is not shaped by chance, luck, or circumstance. It is the outpicturing of your inner state, the thoughts you dwell upon, the images you nurture in your imagination, the assumptions you hold as true. These are the architects of your experience. To believe that wealth comes from external causes is to hand your power over to the illusion of the world. But once you grasp that imagination is the true cause of wealth, you begin to live from a different center. You stop trying to manipulate the outer world and instead begin to master the inner. To win the lottery, or to achieve anything that seems unlikely or miraculous, one must not seek to become lucky. Luck implies randomness, but there is nothing random in a universe governed by consciousness. There is only reflection. What you accept and believe within yourself is faithfully mirrored back to you by life. The man who wins is not the man who wishes. He is not the man who writes out his desires while simultaneously doubting them. The man who wins is the one who assumes the state of the winner. This is not about positive thinking or repeating empty affirmations. It is about shifting into a new state of being. To assume the state of already being wealthy means you begin to feel the life you would live if your desire were already fulfilled. You do not wait for the external world to validate your imagination. You move inward to that secret place, and you see yourself already possessing what you desire. You hear congratulations in your imagination. You feel the softness of the sheets in your new home. You spell the leather of your new car. You write not to beg, but to declare. There is a great difference between wishful thinking and inner knowing. Wishful thinking comes from lack. It says, I want this because I don't have it. Inner knowing says, it is already mine. And so when you write, write from the end. Do not write, I hope I win the lottery. Write, I am so grateful I have won. It feels peaceful. Everything is unfolding perfectly. And as you write, do not just scribble words. Feel the truth of what you are declaring. Let it saturate your mind and body. Let the words become real to you. This is not about faking it. This is about awakening to a deeper truth, that you are not separate from your desire. The moment you assume it, the moment you live in it inwardly, it begins to harden into fact. You must become so convinced of your inner reality that the outer world cannot shake you. You may not know how or when it will arrive, but that is not your concern. The bridge of incidents will unfold in perfect time. Your only task is to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You do not need to chase, manipulate, or scheme. You only need to imagine. Imagine vividly, imagine consistently, imagine boldly. Your imagination is not a fantasy. It is the creative power that forms your reality. Use it wisely, for it is always at work. And when you write from that sacred place of inner conviction, you are not merely expressing hope, you are setting creation in motion. When he sat down to write, he was not a beggar hoping the universe might toss him a coin. He was a creator aligning himself with the reality he had already chosen. The words he wrote did not come from doubt or desperation, they came from authority. He didn't ask, will it happen? He stated, it has happened. This subtle difference in tone, in belief, in posture, is what separates those who receive from those who only wish. Words are not mere symbols on a page, they are vehicles of power. When spoken or written with conviction, they move unseen forces into action. He understood something most never do, that words mold reality. Not because they are magic in and of themselves, but because they carry the energy, the assumption, and the inner state of the one who speaks or writes them. When he wrote, I am the winner of the lottery, he was not engaging in fantasy. He wasn't daydreaming or toying with a nice idea. He was stepping into a new version of himself and affirming what that version already knew to be true. The pen became a sacred instrument. It was no longer ink on paper, it was command upon consciousness. People often write from a place of fear. They journal their worries, they write about what they lack, they chronicle what hasn't gone right. All this does is reinforce the current reality they claim to want to escape. But when he wrote, it was different. He didn't record his current situation, he declared his new one. He didn't say, I hope one day I will win. He said, I have won. And then he felt what that meant. He infused the sentence with certainty, calm, and peace. He didn't need to see the numbers yet, because he had already seen them within. Words backed by belief become law, not because the world must obey, but because the world does obey the inner convictions of man. The outer responds to the inner. And so he wrote, not to convince the world, but to convince himself. Every sentence was a reminder to his deeper self. This is who I am now. He rewrote his identity, not by force, but by repetition, by assumption, and by feeling. Eventually, there was no longer a question in his mind. It felt natural to declare, I am wealthy, I am chosen, I am grateful. And so it became. He treated the act of writing as sacred. He didn't rush. He didn't worry if it was working. He knew that each word was planting a seed in consciousness, and as surely as a planted seed sprouts, the reality he wrote about had to come forth. Not because he begged, not because he asked nicely, but because he spoke it into existence. Reality takes shape through conviction, And conviction is often expressed most powerfully in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, when nothing yet appears to have changed. But the change begins in those unseen moments. He didn't wait for evidence to believe. He believed, and then the evidence came. His words were not empty. They were aligned, saturated with meaning, and echoing a truth that had already been accepted in his imagination. This is how reality is rewritten. Not with force, not with striving, but with deliberate, powerful words that come from knowing. He didn't just write to express desire. He wrote to declare identity. And when identity changes, so does the world. He didn't sit down to write as a man waiting for something to happen. He wrote as one who already knew it had. And more than the words he penned, it was the feeling behind them that moved mountains. He didn't just write, "I am the winner of the lottery," with idle hope or mental repetition. He wrote it with a heart that had already celebrated, with a spirit that had already received. That feeling, the thrill of accomplishment, the peace of security, the joy of abundance, that was the true power behind his creation. Feeling is the secret ingredient. Not action, not struggle, not even the repetition of affirmations. It is feeling that impresses upon the unseen and molds the formless into form. Words are the brush strokes, but feeling is the color, the depth, the life. He understood that without emotion, a sentence is just ink on paper. But infused with feeling, it becomes a living force, a signal to the universe that says, "This is real for me now." When he imagined holding that winning ticket, he didn't just see numbers. He felt the weight of the paper, the rush of disbelief giving way to certainty, the gratitude washing over him like a wave. He felt the calls he would make, the relief in his chest, the tears he would wipe from his eyes. He made it real, not through effort, but through inner experience. And in doing so, he shifted his state of being. He was no longer the man hoping to win. He became the man who had already won. And the world, always a mirror, had no choice but to reflect that change. This is where many miss the mark. They repeat the words, they visualize the event, but they forget to feel. They wait for circumstances to change before giving themselves permission to feel what they desire. But this man reversed the order. He felt it first. He didn't ask life to give him something new. He gave it to himself in imagination, and life followed. It always does. Emotion is the bridge between the inner and the outer. It is the proof of belief. You cannot feel what you do not accept as possible. And once you allow yourself to feel the result as though it has already happened, you step into a new state. From that state, actions are different. Thoughts are different. Outcomes are different. He lived from the end, not in fantasy, but in faith. And that faith had a sound, a temperature, a vibration. It was felt. The feeling came before the wind. It had to. Just as a tree grows from a seed buried in the dark soil, the manifestation grew from the unseen certainty he cultivated in silence. Each day he returned to that feeling, not out of impatience, but out of joy. It became his dwelling place, his sanctuary. While others waited for proof, he became the proof. He carried the evidence within him, and eventually the world bowed to it. It wasn't luck. It wasn't chance. It was alignment. It was emotional certainty. The world cannot resist a heart that knows. And his heart knew long before the numbers ever did. There were no signs in the sky, no divine signal, no hint from the outer world to suggest he was close. No sudden luck, no dreams offering confirmation, no voice from the universe whispering, "It's coming." It was silent. Still. The world gave him nothing to lean on, and yet he persisted. He kept stepping into the scene of the fulfilled desire, not once, but every day. When others would have grown tired, when doubt would have crept in and whispered, "Why are you still doing this?" he answered with quiet certainty, he wasn't looking for signs. He was the sign. His persistence didn't come from desperation, it came from knowing. He understood a truth that few are willing to live out. What you assume as true within consistently and faithfully must reflect itself without. It is law. So he persisted, not to force the world, but to remain faithful to the version of himself he had already accepted. That version, the one who had already won, already received, already experienced the miracle, was more real to him than the man the mirror reflected. The outer world was simply taking time to catch up. But his inner reality was already alive. This is the quiet courage no one talks about. The strength to keep assuming in the face of nothing. No reward yet. No movement, just stillness. Most would break, most would give up and declare it's not working. But he knew better. He knew the world conforms to sustained inner conviction, not to fleeting thoughts or half-beliefs, but to unshaken assumption held firm over time. So he kept writing, not to convince the universe, but to remind himself, not to ask, but to declare. He didn't write because he doubted, he wrote because he believed. It became his daily ritual, his alignment with the unseen truth. Each word he wrote, each time he imagined, was a step deeper into the state of the wish fulfilled. And though the world remained quiet, he moved with assurance. He laughed when others worried. He gave thanks when nothing had shown up. He walked as the man who had already received it. That is the power of living in the end. You no longer seek, you express. You no longer ask, you assume. An assumption, when held daily, becomes identity. That identity draws the corresponding world to itself like a magnet. The outer must bend to the inner. There is no other way. The scene changed, not by chance, but by law. The winning numbers came, the impossible became fact. But by the time the event unfolded, he was already prepared. He had lived it 1,000 times in imagination. He had felt it, breathed it, become it. And the world simply followed the path he had carved out with his persistent assumption. You do not need evidence to persist. You only need conviction. Do not wait for signs. Be the sign. Persist beyond sight. Live from the end. Let your assumption be your truth, even when the world remains silent. And in time, the silence will break. Not because you forced it, but because you faithfully lived in the reality no one else could see but you. He didn't tell the world what he was doing. He didn't post it, share it, or ask for opinions. He understood something most never grasped. The creative power is not loud, it is sacred. It is not something to display, but something to dwell in. So he kept it close. He didn't declare his desire to the world, he whispered it to himself. He wasn't seeking validation from others, he was anchoring his own belief. This was a personal conversation, a silent dialogue between his present self and the version of him that already lived the fulfilled desire. When he wrote, he wasn't scripting a message to convince the universe. He was aligning his thoughts with a deeper truth. He wasn't pleading, he was confirming. He was not trying to make something happen. He was remembering what was already done in the unseen. He knew that speaking too soon or too widely often waters down the power. That desire, once exposed to doubt, begins to wither. Others project their fears, their logic, their disbelief, and that pollution can infect your own vision if you're not rooted. So he protected it. He didn't explain himself. He didn't try to convert anyone to his way of thinking. He honored the process in silence. He knew this power doesn't require noise, it requires intimacy. He treated his imagination like sacred ground. Each time he wrote, he tuned in, not to the world, but to the voice within. That inner voice, the one that says, "It is done," was the only one he needed to hear. And so, he wrote not for show, but for self. He was not asking life to give him something new. He was reminding himself that it was already his. And that reminder, repeated in stillness, was enough. In this sacred space, where no one else was watching, he became someone new. He dropped the version of himself that was waiting and stepped into the one who already had. In that private exchange, pen to paper, thought to word, mind to spirit, he wove a new identity. And this identity didn't need confirmation from the outer world. It was secure, sustained, and sufficient on its own. He didn't need to be told it was working, he felt it. That feeling became his proof. He wasn't interested in announcing the process, he was living the result. His life became the announcement. Not because he declared it, but because he became it. And when the evidence arrived, it was simply the world catching up to what he had long known in secret. This is the way of true creation. Not performance, but communion. Not spectacle, but stillness. It is not in shouting what you want, but in embodying what you have already received. He honored that, and it made all the difference. His success wasn't born out of noise, but from quiet conviction. While others waited for external permission to believe, he gave it to himself. He spoke to himself, and in doing so, he tuned the world to his frequency. The future didn't come because he begged for it. It came because he agreed with it in the silence of his own soul. When he sat down to write, he wasn't just scribbling desires on paper. He wasn't hoping, he wasn't asking, he was remembering. Remembering who he truly was. In that quiet moment, pen in hand, he wasn't a man trying to win the lottery. He was something far more powerful. A creator calling forth an experience from the invisible realm into the visible world. He had awakened to a truth that changes everything. The words "I am" are not to be spoken lightly. They are not a wish, they are not a request, they are a decree. And what follows "I am" must come to pass because it is a statement of being. He was not trying to become a winner. He assumed that identity right then and there. I am the winner of the lottery. Not one day, not maybe, but now. That sentence, spoken in the silence of his own heart, was not fiction. It was creation. And so, when he wrote, it was not a man writing to get something. It was a being remembering what was already his. He had moved beyond begging and beyond striving. There was no more trying. There was only knowing. Knowing that consciousness is the only reality. Knowing that what you accept as true of yourself becomes your world. He did not need to see the wind to believe it. He believed it, and therefore he would see it. Every time he wrote, it wasn't to convince the universe. It was to align his mind with the truth of his being. He was not an observer of reality. He was its architect. He was not under the control of fate or chance. He was the very source from which circumstances flowed. And he knew that the outer world would conform, not because of effort or force, but because of assumption held with unwavering confidence. He called upon this truth not just with words, but with feeling. He felt the power of I am. He breathed it. He lived it. When he walked through the world, he didn't carry the energy of someone hoping to win. He moved with the calm certainty of one who already had. The inner shift had occurred, and so the outer shift was inevitable. This was no longer a game of luck. It was the fulfillment of law. The law that states whatever you feel yourself to be, you will experience. And so he kept returning to that truth. Again and again, he affirmed not just the outcome, but the identity behind it. He wasn't becoming someone else. He was uncovering who he had always been, the one with the power to declare, I am, and know it would become flesh. He did not ask, will it work? He knew that question only arises when you forget who you are. And he refused to forget. He remembered. And in remembering, he won. Not just the lottery, but the mastery of himself. The outer win was merely a reflection of the inner command. When the numbers finally appeared, when the world finally caught up, there was no shock, only gratitude. He had already lived it, already claimed it, already become it, because he remembered who he truly was, and that memory shaped the world around him. So you see, he did not win by chance. He won because he remembered the truth, that the imagination is the womb of reality, the world is the seed, and feeling is the life that brings it forth. He did not ask the world to give, he assumed it was already his. He didn't beg, he declared. He didn't seek signs, he became the sign. While others waited for proof, he lived as proof. Day after day, in silence, in certainty, he wrote not to wish, but to affirm. And in doing so, the invisible became visible. The unseen became seen. This is the path for all who dare to believe. You do not hope for what you want, you become it. You do not look to the world for evidence, you create the evidence by embodying the end. That is the power within you. Use it. Trust it. Live it. Saying thank you. Thank you for listening. May you walk forward now with quiet confidence, knowing that your inner world holds the key to all you seek. And may you write, not to beg, but to command. Because your words, your feelings, and your assumptions are the tools of creation. Use them well, and the world will reflect what you already know to be true.